Hear the words of the Reverend Maureen Killeron. Blessed is this ground on which we stand. Holy is this place. Holy are the places of memory, the places which have formed us, where we store the icons of success and shattered dreams, and gather up threads and pieces of what we would become. Holy are the places of memory. Holy are the places of the dream, the places over the rainbow, where all the children are wanted and all the people are fed, where colors are the source of celebration, and youth and age come to the table as one. Holy are the places of the dream. Holy are the places of change and of pain, the places of our struggle, the places where the rivers of our lives run white and fast, and we hold on. We hold on for dear life, and we grow. Holy are the places of change and pain. Holy are these places of connection, the places where we risk ourselves, where we risk the lives of others, the hands, that touch souls, that touch minds. And in that awareness, we change our minds and our lives. Holy are the places of these connections. Holy are the places of becoming, the places of clear vision, where life and world are intertwined, and we can see forever in this moment, and we give the deepest thanks. Holy are the places of becoming. Friends, blessed is the ground on which we stand. Holy and whole-making is this place. Come, let us worship together. Well, now we're in for a treat. I would invite forward our First Parish Choir to lead us all in the singing of our first hymn, For the Beauty of the Earth, which is number 21 in your gray hymnal.
And we'd like to sing the first verse for you, and then you're welcome to join in after that.
Please rise in body or in spirit. You may be seated. Well, now I would invite forward Reverend David Chandler, who we are so blessed to have back in the meeting house. For those who aren't aware, he was the interim minister here before I came. I believe you were here from, would that be 2016 to 2019?
Yep.
There you go. He's going to share with us a reflection this morning.
Well, I did have a working title for this reflection. It was Mama, Look What the Cat Drug In. But I decided you might not be up for my bizarre humor since it's been 3 years. And I want to tell you, it's not everybody we get up before dawn to come and visit. We looked at each other at 6 o'clock this morning and went, hello, what are we doing? But it's a beautiful day, and it's wonderful to be here, to see you, to feel the space, the people. So much gladness in my heart, and I know I speak for Sally too. And Kate sends her regards. She is busy with schoolwork in a graduate program through Harvard Extension, so she does not get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. This is called Maybe, Maybe Not. The people who lived diagonally across the street had Christmas decorations up the first week of November. I think they got bored after Halloween. So the 4-foot Frosty and the 2 twinkly reindeer are on the lawn, the string of lights hugs the porch rail, and blue and purple glow from the upstairs window. Maybe it's Christmas already, maybe not. It is, after all, a state of mind. If it's Christmas for them and they're kind enough to share, what can it hurt? Peace and goodwill are always in short supply. This is the maybe season. Maybe it's winter, maybe not. Maybe it will snow, maybe not. Maybe I'll get the garden all cleaned up, maybe not. This last is no small hope. One vivid gardening memory is a December afternoon with a Siberian iris frozen to the ground. In trying to remove the dead leaves, I sliced my fingertip open and ho-ho-ho'd my way to the ER. Since then, I start much earlier and work more diligently. Diligence is required. There's a lot of stuff. Make no small gardens is my motto. So there are many plants to cut back and remove. We have big trees around us, so there are avalanches of leaves to take out of the beds. The leaves and plants go via multiple trips to the city compost pile. The beds get final weeding as I go along, and also new topsoil to improve drainage and contouring, and because I'm a little crazy. It's hard work every day. It isn't pouring rain over a month or sometimes more, depending on pouring rain episodes. I enjoy the heck out of it all. The realization surprised me a few years ago. This is my version of the harvest. There are no crops, but what's not to like? I'm outside. I'm using my hands and limbs day after day in the manner they were intended. I use my skills and experience to know what to do, how to do it, and when. I tend the plants by removing what is going or already gone so they can best survive the winter and return happily in the spring. Yes, plants have feelings. I pull the late weeds and the sneaky ones that were hiding. Yes, plants have behavioral issues. Everything returns to the earth, and every day there is measurable progress. Maybe I'm a farmer at heart. I deeply enjoy the land itself emerging from cover. It is always, even in a backyard garden, ultimately about the land. Thank you, Wendell Berry. I see the whole garden at once, the bones, if you will. I evaluate the way the boundaries of the various beds flow and play against each other. I assess for aesthetic balance and appeal, the positive and negative values, set by the shapes of each bed. Best of all is that I see much of the spring that will come. Siberian iris die back to the roots to survive Siberian winters. But bearded iris keeps small leaves, so do grape hyacinths. Eupatorium shows the tiny versions of next year's succulents. Digitalis keeps a basil of leaves, as does the penstemon and the black-eyed Susans and the coneflowers. Some ferns persist all winter, and the grasses will brown but stay mostly upright. The hosta stalks are truncated but still sturdy. The shrubs are largely bare of leaves, but many have buds that reliably promise what will come. Thus the point. Harvest is a time to celebrate, to gather in abundance, to secure the hearth, to welcome rest. It's not an end point, but a point in the cycle. It is a station only, one stage of a journey, an episode in the thirst of creation to come into being. Joyful gatherings in this holiday season honor the reality that sustains us day and night. This, then, life is resilient and resourceful, poised and startling, and it goes on always. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Thank you, David, for sharing that powerful reflection. Well, friends, in this season of gratitude and giving, we're called as Unitarian Universalists to not just think of those sitting at our full dining room tables, our tables filled with abundance and food, but also to think of our neighbors beyond our walls, beyond our borders, beyond our oceans, those who might not be so fortunate. Following the worship service today, if you are so moved when you are leaving, each family is invited to take one of the guest at your table boxes. You'll see them along the back table there. The Guest at Your Table program supports the work of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, who does a lot of wonderful work in the world. The UUSC helps those who are being harmed by the ongoing war in the Ukraine. They protect civil rights in Burma, provide resources to those devastated by hurricanes in the Atlantic. They're doing phenomenal climate justice work, focusing on protecting the rights of populations at risk, those who are being forced to flee their homes, being displaced by the changing environment. They're currently working on Central American migrant justice issues, where violence and corruption have forced thousands of Central Americans to flee their homes. So if you would like to support this organization and the work that they do, this is a lifelong tradition, one I had when I was a child. You can bring one of those boxes home with you, and you can place it in the center of your dining room table. And when you share a meal with your loved ones, you can drop a quarter in there, drop a nickel, however much you would like to share. And it's one small way of bringing just a bit more kindness and compassion into our world. For these small acts of kindness, together they can make a big difference in our world. They've been making a big difference for a very long time. You know, a long time ago, thousands of years ago, in fact, people were also being told how they might help other people. Not with putting coins in a box during mealtime, not by bringing books and games and warm mittens to homeless children. In the Bible, people were told that when they go into their fields to harvest their crops, they are to leave some of the harvest for foreigners, for homeless children, for widows. They were told that when they beat the olives down from their trees, they were to go over the tree only once, so that there would be olives left over for the homeless and for the widows. They were told that when they gathered those grapes in the vineyard, they were not to go back and harvest the last of the grapes. These were to be left for the widows, the homeless, the foreigners. Those of us who live in towns and cities, those of us who go to supermarkets instead of the fields and the vineyards to gather our food, it's so easy to take so much of that for granted. I know when I go to the produce section of the supermarket, I just assume that they will always have my favorite apples, those beautiful crowns of broccoli, those sweet Vidalia onions that I love. And if, when I get there, I find that they're out of ginger root or snow peas, I'm surprised, I'm a little annoyed. I'm annoyed at the inconvenience of not being able to get exactly what I want and when I want it. And I take so much for granted. For a long time, people have been gathering to thank their God for blessing them with yet another bountiful harvest. And this is something that the indigenous people living here were doing long before the European colonists ever arrived on these shores. We are not as fully aware of the turning of the seasons as they were. Most of us, we don't need to worry about having enough rain to water our crops or enough sunshine to help those fragile seeds sprout and grow. Miraculously, they somehow grow into those beautiful ears of corn or tomatoes or green beans or artichokes without us having to do much of anything. And so, it seems to be a really good thing that we have set aside this day for giving thanks. It was actually Abraham Lincoln who in 1863 proclaimed that we were to set aside the last Thursday of November as a day to give thanks. He signed this presidential decree in the darkest days of our American Civil War. He made that proclamation only months after tens of thousands had died at Gettysburg. And when the end of the war, at that point it was nowhere in sight. The country was in shambles. Often we think of giving thanks in happy days. We think about all of the abundance. We think of things going well. But it's not always so. In Lincoln's poignant proclamation, he reflected that it was, in fact, during the darkest of times, during the hardest of hours, in his words, when we have forgotten God, it's then that we most need to set aside time and to express our deepest gratitude for all the blessings in our lives. Because, in some way, this simple act of giving thanks moves us into a different type of perspective. It changes us in big ways and small ways. It allows us to be grateful for all of the relationships we have in our lives, for all those that love us, for all that food on the table, for all the blessings. But it's not always a happy time. These times of gratitude can be mixed with feelings of concern, of sorrow. And so on this Thanksgiving, on this National Day of Mourning, whether it is a time of comfort or a time of trouble, may each of us pause long enough to reflect on the duality of this day. A day of great abundance and gratitude, and a day of deep mourning and sorrow. Help us to hold both in our lives as we gather with loved ones in whatever way is most meaningful to us. And when we do gather, let each of us take a few moments to pause long enough to give thanks for all of those blessings in our lives. So may it be. Amen. Well, now I would invite back the choir to the front to lead us all in our closing hymn, This Little Light of Mine. It's number 118 in your gray hymnal, but I doubt you'll need it. Please rise in body or in spirit.